My name is Chuck Mellon, and thanks for joining me today. I'm your host and a longtime investor and financial publications writer. I spent nearly 20 years in the securities industry as both a principal of New York Stock Exchange and the Chicago Board of Options Exchange. I'm also an author and lecturer. You may know me from one of my public speaking appearances with Tony Robbins, where I was a featured speaker for nearly 13 years as his Wealth Mastery program. Check out my website, chuckmellon.com, for more information about me. Before we begin, just a small disclaimer. The opinions that I share with you today are mine and mine alone. I may name several stocks and other securities traded in the open markets, but I'm not recommending that you purchase them or sell them if you currently own them. I never make blanket recommendations, as I have no incentive to do so. Now, today's discussion is called Golden Days Are Here Again. And I'm going to quote from my recent gold report, which is available on my website, chuckmellon.com. Now, there are a lot of reasons to own gold in today's economy, not the least of which is the very real concern of massive inflationary pressure that is most assuredly preparing to rear its head in the coming months and certainly within the next year or two. This will cause a spiraling of prices of all things consumers buy or care about. It will affect each and every part of our household and our economy as a whole. In short, it will be like a massive tax that only the very willing and nimble investor will be able to avoid. Inflation robs our economy of its vitality by forcing consumers, investors, savers, and pensioners to pay more for all goods and services. It makes planning and estimating for individual households as well as businesses very difficult. It reduces the average savings rate for families as costs rise and the value of those savings meaningfully diminish as expenses continue to move higher. In short, inflation is bad for us as individuals. However, for governments, and particularly our government, it may be the only way to repay trillions of dollars in foreign debt. Now, if you know that historically gold has been favored in times of financial uncertainty, I quote further from my recently published gold report. Since the beginning of recorded history, gold has been prized by every major culture and nation. Gold has been in widespread use for nearly 4,000 years now. As an anchor in a sea of debt, gold has been one of the few recognized hard assets that everyone on the planet will accept for debts settled between individuals and nations. It's the one universally recognized source of power and influence since before Caesar and Cleopatra sailed the Mediterranean. Gold has been and always will be the ultimate reserve currency that instills trust and confidence in a nation and its peoples. While paper money can be manipulated by politicians and printing presses, gold cannot. This is just one of the reasons that we think about owning gold, or we should think about owning gold, at least some of it. Further, according to our recent USA Today article, taxpayers are now on the hook for an additional $55,000 per household due to the latest commitments our federal government has made in retirement benefits, national debt, and other government promises. This 12% increase is the largest since 2003 and the beginning of the Iraqi war. This latest increase, and I quote, raises the total federal obligations to a record $546,668 per household in 2008, end of quote. Now, I don't know about you, but I do know that in my lifetime, there has never been this kind of monetary manipulation and massive spending in any country where the government was able to survive intact for the next 30 years. Nor has there been spending like this without massive and destructive inflationary forces crippling the economy and the population. A further case for examining gold in your portfolio? Well, how about tensions in the Mideast, Israel, and Iran primarily? Pakistan's questionable success in driving out the Taliban and its fundamentalist attitude? And of course, the short guy in North Korea with the tall hair, challenging the world once again with nuclear destruction. If that doesn't make you think twice about owning something of forever value, nothing will. Gold was once nearly $1,000 an ounce just a few weeks ago. Is it going to $2,000? I don't know, but I wouldn't want to bet against it in the future. If you agree, fine. But I'd like to hear from you anyway. Please visit my website, chuckmellon.com, for a copy of my new gold report or my latest book, Winning Wealth Strategies.